to participate. We've got cards in the back so you can take some, pass them out to friends, invite them to come as well. So 1 Million Cups, just a real quick summary. What it is, it's just a program that's supported by the Kaufman Foundation. We provide a space here for entrepreneurs, startups, small businesses to gather with the community. Our presenters get 5 minutes to tell their story, and then you as the audience get to ask them questions for 15 minutes. So it allows us to come around the business and learn a little bit about them and maybe help them out if they have some ongoing challenges. All right, so we want to thank our sponsors. First Cup it has provided the coffee. They're our quarter sponsor. We will be looking for another one for second quarter, so if you've got ideas, let us know. And then Spacious has graciously given us the space here. And then the Pearland Innovation Hub as well has provided some of the printed items as well back there. Okay, so we're going to start this cup counter. So this is how many cups of coffee we are doing. Last week we had 40. So we had a lot of people here. So this number will go up each week. So it'll be fun to watch this number going up as we go. And that is it. You don't hear me talk today. So it's time for our presenters. So go ahead and silence your phones. Let's give them all of our attention. And our first speaker or first presenter today is Segun. Segun, did I say it right? Okay, yay. And he's with Tutoring Success, and he's going to come up and tell us his story today. So let's welcome him on up.
Right. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure. Glad to see you guys. I know you could have been anywhere today. You chose to be here, so I don't take that lightly. Thank you very much for coming out here. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my story and my background. So Tutoring Success, I started this company over 5 years ago. And what we do is we provide academic support for kids. We do online and in-person tutoring. We also do college readiness. So you have kids in high school looking to go to college. We guide them through the process, everything from the applications. We also help them raise scholarships. So a lot of success stories on that front. We have people get $40,000 plus worth of college money. So for all parents out there, they tell you can get either subsidized education for your kids or free education, no one would say no to that. So we do that. And then I stay active in the community as well in terms of that. So my story is I have an HR background. So I've done corporate world for a very long time. And then for me, it was a case of there's got to be more to it than this, right? Everybody knows about the Maslow's hierarchy. Mm-hmm. So basically, right, self-actualization, you've gotten the awards, you've got the recognition, you've gotten the salary, then what else? There's got to be more after this, right? So how I got into teaching is all my spare time was spent working with kids. I coached soccer, the YMCA. I did a program called Junior Achievement, which some of you may know, teaching financial literacy to kids across all grade levels. And then also mentoring programs with in England and in the United States as well. So did soul searching, done all this, corporate, making millions for these corporations, which is nothing wrong with that, right? But then, for me, it was just that, there's got to be more. And then I got into teaching, did my teacher certification. I taught in several school districts. And we all know there's no perfect educational system out there, right? We're not in competition with the schools. What we do is supplement what they do and provide that support so that your kids can be successful. Now, I'm sure you've heard the expression, put your money where your mouth is. Mm-hmm. So I took out my 403B, as any wise educator would do, right? Emptied out to say, and bet on myself essentially that this is going to work out. So I tested the market, of course, put my toes in and just jump in the deep first. So there was a demand for the service, right? And that's what I would encourage you guys as entrepreneurs, right? It's, okay, you want to be, climb mountains, but is there a demand for excursions if you live in a flat area, right? Doesn't make any sense, right? So it's testing the market, knowing that you have a product or service, and there's the actual demand for it, because that's when I've learned separate your emotions from reality, right? You can want to do well and good, but then you also have to be able to and have the capacity to as well. So I've done that. I've had a team that worked with me. We've grown the business. Did 6 figures within the first 2 years, which is impressive for a startup. And luckily for me, I have an MBA as well. I didn't mention that at first, so that helped. I was my accountant, finance guy, HR, PR, marketing, sales. all on me, right? And I would advise anyone who's trying to start a business, that's the way to go, right? Yes, you save the money, but also it helps you understand what the people you pay to support your business do, right? So when you're at the meetings, you go, no, you talk about, cost cutting, blah, 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 XYZ, your Excel sheets. No, respectfully, it's XYZ, so that they know that, okay, he or she knows what they're doing as well. So it's not easy when you start out, being an entrepreneur, because there's so many pitfalls and things you need to worry about. But it's like a roller coaster, right? You get on, you may be a little bit apprehensive, but then you don't want to get on, right? It's exhilarating. So for me, the biggest thing is I enjoy what I do every day. I enjoy going to work and making a difference. I've never woken up feeling down or whatever the case may be. So that's what I would encourage you. Find what it is that you're passionate about. I don't care what it is. Research, there's so much information out there, guys, right? Find out what it is and then get help. Ask friends, lean on friends and family and loved ones. And if you have it in your heart that this is what you want to do, I guarantee you'll be successful. Sometimes people are afraid of success as well. It's not just failure, right? And fun fact, who knows what's the number one phobia out there for people?
Public speaking.
Public speaking, thank you. And number 2 is death. So I don't know about you, I'd rather be up here than in the coffin, right? So it just goes to show that, we all have our dreams and aspirations, but then you should be able to be successful in that, whatever the case may be. So I'm excited, looking forward to speaking with any and every one of you, and any way that I can be of assistance, I will be glad to do that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So now we get to ask him questions to him. So anyone ready to ask some questions to Segun?
Thank you.
I'm a little late, so I'm so sorry about that. But I just want to know what inspired you to fulfill this career of helping others?
Yes, so like I said, for me, it's doing the soul search and help companies make millions, right? And I've always had a passion for children, working with children, right? I worked in various capacities. And for me, it was a case of how can I make a long-term impact, right? Not just something that is a one-off or on a volunteer basis in the long run. And the beauty for me is the kids that I've worked with where, school system said they're not gonna amount to anything, or they've written them off, or he or she's always in trouble, and there's nothing we can do about him or her, right? So I found my approach with them is I take them like little adults, just like we're having a conversation. Talk with them like how a father would do, right? There's time for discipline, but also time for positive affirmation as well. Because sometimes we're the only positive role models they see. And I say that all the time, and it makes a big difference. Because like I tell the teachers, whatever you expect of a child is what he or she's gonna do. You expect good things, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, there's gonna be, of course, work and effort behind that, right? But kids, as you know, all of you, who are parents over here? All right, so you guys can relate to this, right? Do you need to tell your children that you love them? You can reassure them, but they know, right? Because that's your role as a parent. So some things go without saying, but I say nodding here, and those of you who are married can relate to this too, right? Your spouse can't say, well, I love you, right? Ladies, am I right about that? So he has to show you, right? The flowers of chocolate, the actions, right? So that's where we come in, is like, yes, okay, we give you the words, now you gotta pull it by your bootstraps and you gotta get the work done. And I've learned just treating them like human beings. I know it sounds cliche, but it's so true, right? Because sometimes experience, you talk over them versus to them. So being mindful of that as well, What do you think about that, Johnny? Yes, you're still in control, yes, you're still a parent, but we can do about it this way, or what about that? Would you rather do it this way or this way? So it's like forced choices, but you're still getting what you want at the end of the day. Yes.
So you talked about college prep and the application stuff, and you mentioned tutoring. So specifically, what age ranges, what kinds of things do you offer?
Right, good question. So obviously for college prep, you wouldn't expect the elementary school kids to be in college, right? So we do, for lower level, elementary, we do math and ELA, right? That's what they're doing. They're learning about their surroundings, their stimulation and whatnot. Now the beauty of that is we also do a summer program where we cover the curriculum for the next academic year. So if your child's in first grade, guess what? We go over everything they need to know for second grade. So what that does is when they get into the classroom, they're like Einstein. They already know what to expect. And the beauty about that is they're able to also help their classmates, that's helping their confidence, it's helping the teacher as well, and they're always gonna be one step ahead of the game. Because as you know, confidence is a big, big part of education. Child knows, okay, I can do this. Okay, math may not be my favorite subject, but I have the skill sets to be successful in this. And then that transcends over onto later life. And then of course for middle school kids, you know, math, English, science, and social studies, and then the high school kids, the advanced subjects that some of us may not like, chemistry, physics, biology, algebra, geometry, and then the college readiness portion of it, the SAT prep, the SAT, which they take right before the SAT, and then also the grad students. We also have some people that are in grad school that are struggling with some of their classes, so you already paid for the class, no point dropping, you need the class to graduate, right? So we step in line to support them too, and then LSAT preparation for those who want to become lawyers, and then alternative certification program for those who want to become teachers. Because having been through that myself, I'm able to, you know, walk them through the process. And we had a lot of success stories from that.
Oh, so you obviously very prepared for entering the business world. But even with all that preparedness, what's one of the biggest challenges that you faced in your entrepreneur journey, and kind of two-part, and how did you fix that? How did you work through that?
I didn't think to ask me that, by the way. Awesome question. I appreciate that. But
you can follow me on social media.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll wire the money.
Yeah.
So great question. I think for me, because I know sometimes you get all these, you know, Jeff Bezos and all, they tell you all these glamorous stories. I'm gonna give you, you know, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? It's when I said I invested, you know, my own retirement into my business. It's when people know that you check yourself seriously, they're gonna take you seriously, right? Anyone can say anything, right? But it's like, you know, you come with confidence, and when you prepare, that brings confidence as well. You know, so in terms of that, I know for me, it was more of a case of getting yourself out there. This was, I started out early days of social media, so we didn't have all this TikTok and all this other stuff. So it was just, you know, pounding on doors, meeting with schools, meeting with principals. So the advantage that I had was having been an educator. You know, I know the landscape, right? I have my success record. I had an excellent, you know, ratings in the classroom. I had all my portfolio. Kids were successful. I taught algebra. I had a 100% pass rate for algebra, which is the hardest middle school math subject, right? And I had the same set of kids that everybody else had. So it's just letting your work speak for itself. You know, having a product that others can relate to, because success breeds success in that sense. And you know, that was just the initial challenge, just getting word out there, because I've always been self-motivated. So nobody needs to tell me, you know, you need to get up out there and do it. But it also helps to have a support group around you, mentors, people who have been there, done that. And like I always tell people, sometimes going left instead of going right, you may not know why you went left or right, but you've avoided several pitfalls. That's success in itself. And then also not being too hard on yourself, you know? You know, I used to be very, very self-aware and critical, but it's like, it's okay. You know, if today didn't quite go the way you want, there's always tomorrow.
What's the current challenge you're facing?
Current challenge is more, actually it's a victim of success, basically. So challenge is staffing needs, especially with tutors.
How many do you have?
I've got about 14 on board and looking to grow, but the challenge is always staff retention, right? Tutoring business is high turnover rate. Everybody knows that, right? Sometimes people graduate, they move on, they find a job. Sometimes it's a second source of income for some people, so it's more that. So looking to grow the team, which is a good problem to have, right? As entrepreneurs, if you're not growing the business and people, then there's a problem right there.
How many non-tutors do you have?
Non-tutors, so to support staff, I have about 3. So admin, and someone that helps me with HR, and then also attending events. But of course, looking to grow that. I want to have a typical company, IT department, finance, count all the money. You know, I need to make enough for them to count it all, right? and all that. So that's the goal, looking to grow, to at least get to 10 paid staff members within the next 3 years. That's the goal.
How do your clients find you? What's your strongest?
So for me, what's working with the schools, because I also support a special education population as well. So that's something near and dear to my heart. And that's a very specialized niche service So that's also helped in terms of them seeing what I've been able to do successfully with that. But I've been using social media. I have a marketing background too, so put that to use, coupled with the MBA, and then events like this as well. And that's for every business owner, right? You gotta put yourself out there in a good way, right? The more people see you, the more they know about your services and what you offer, the more opportunity you can have to help people. And for me, it's always about just making a difference. I volunteered in so many capacities. I didn't get $1 out of it, but good things came out of that as a byproduct of that. So I would definitely say that social media, events, industry conferences. I went to Dubai a couple of years ago for an education conference. So looking for opportunities to where you can showcase, your services in terms of that. Yes.
You mentioned mentors in your life, in your journey. Could you tell me more about what the impact they do into like your life and your business? And do you use your mentors right now, like when you're already successful?
Can you repeat the first part of the question again, please?
So you mentioned that you have mentors, correct?
Yes.
If you had advice, you got an advice from your mentors. Tell me more about like the best advice they gave to you, and also how like they participate right now. How do you communicate with your mentors right now?
Okay, awesome. So in terms of mentorship, I guess for me, the best advice I would say would be, you know more than you think you know, right? And the reason why I say that is that's more from, as a human being, even with children, right? It's like, okay, can I not? But it was a case of just trust your ability, right? And like I said, sometimes you can be hard on yourself more than others. So using that to your advantage, say, hey, you know what? I've got this degree, got multiple degrees. I can do this. I know the system. I know what I like about it and what I want to improve on it. So there's nothing stopping me from getting out there. So I think what stops a lot of people is just that fear of the unknown. What if all these scenarios we have in our heads that may or may not even happen, right? But only one way to find out, you gotta try it. In terms of my mentors, I keep in touch with them mostly via emails and phone calls. We check in from time to time. They check on me, see how I'm doing. I'm also interested in their businesses too, how it is that I can help them. So that's what I call the sweat equity. It's not always about cash transactions, right? It's like, okay, background in MBA, I can advise you about, starting up a business. If they have a new business they want to start up, I can assist them with that. This is not their area of expertise. Maybe he's a real estate magnate, but he knows nothing about general business operations. So looking for ways to add value to other people. And that's what's pretty much been successful for me. Yes.
So this may seem contradictory to what you offer, but have you considered using AI in any capacity as a teaching mechanism? So I know, I'm pretty sure all your tutors, they come in person. There's some things that, I used to be in education, so there's some things that, you can offer as a human being outside of just the content, for the student, but have you considered AI in any capacity?
Okay, so that's an excellent question. And I like the fact you brought that up because with a lot of educators, they see that as a no-no. Because for instance, for essay writing, right, kid just types in, write me a brilliant essay, right? And then poof, he's Einstein or she's Einstein, right? But what I found is I do also, part of my content creation, that's a part of what we do as well. So where we provide free resources for parents for different subjects, right? So the benefit of the AI is automation, right? You're able to do things faster, quicker, and whatnot. But I always point out to them, like, it's not a substitute for the work, right? You still have to think, garbage in, garbage out, right? You still have to know what exactly that you need to do. So just like, 40 years ago, who knew about emails, right? Sure, we had parents, you struggled with typing, or now they're the ones doing the selfies and all the social media stuff, right? So it's embracing technology and using that to your advantage. You can't fight it. It's here to stay, right? It's not going anywhere. So I look for creative ways within the classroom where you can integrate that into what you do. I'll give you an example. We do use something called Tinkercad. Anyone who's familiar with Tinkercad, it's pretty much an automated system that people use for designing. Architects use it for doing models, 3D models on the computers. So we use that for stuff like volume in math, right? Length times width times height, area of composite figures. They want to build a house, they have to measure the pieces and put it all together, and then you're learning from the process. So it's embracing it, finding ways to where you can use it, where it benefits your service or product. I mean,
Time for a couple more questions, so go ahead, Mike.
Congratulations on your business.
Thank you.
You mentioned you're an MBA,
Yes.
so you can wear multiple hats.
Yes.
A lot of new business owners, entrepreneurs aren't MBAs and can't wear multiple hats. So what would you suggest that they outsource right away or become as much of an expert as possible right away?
Excellent question. You got a great audience. Yes, thank you for that. I would say the initial thing would be get all the compliance and legal stuff out of the way. That would be my advice before anything else, right? Because that's where you get into trouble where, you know, you have, I don't know, agreement for lease space and, you know, you've not even grown the business, right? And you can't get out of it for whatever reason, right? It didn't quite work out. You're stuck with this big space and you're spending 10 to 20 grand a year, right? That's money that can go towards your marketing, your advertising. So always start small. You know, start from your home. You know who are you trying to impress? You're a startup, right? You don't need a fish tank and, you know, 2 admin staff and all that stuff. You want to start small and think big, you know, and, you know, just scale up. You know, you make a little money, invest it back in the business, and you pay yourself last. You know, that's important to mention. Don't go buy the Ferrari or the Lamborghini and all that. You pay yourself last, keep the finances lean, and everything should be all about the business. Every waking thought you have, how can I make this business successful? Over time, most businesses that we know fail during the first 5 years, right? So if you make it past the 5-year point, you're doing something right. So I would say and then also find people that can, almost like an unofficial, unpaid consultant, right? Trade off, hey, I'll mow your lawn if you can help me with my Excel sheets. That's still a trade-off, right? It's still fair. So you're taking advantage of anybody. So knowing what areas you're not strong in, being self-aware. You know, okay, I'm not good at numbers. I need to get somebody to help me with that.
All right. Well, we end every presentation with the question, how can we as a community help you? So last question right there.
Yes, so it's just always ready to take on more clients. And for me, it's beyond just the money, that's a byproduct. It's just being able to make a difference within the community and see these kids go on to bigger and better things. So if you know of any schools, superintendents, principals, parents that are doing homeschooling, we also do learning pods for that. Kids that are behind by 1 or 2 grade levels, help them get caught up so they don't keep falling further and further behind every school year. And then high school kids, of course, who are trying to make that transition to college, how we can best support them.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Let's give him a hand. Great. And now we're going to move into presenter number 2. So, Aaron with Nexus Online Strategies, come on up.